to In Great Company. We are back with another amazing show today. Today, we're going to be talking about state tax nexus, state tax compliance with the amazing Nellie Akalp from CorpNet.com. At In Great Company, we bring you industry leaders, other business owners who have expertise, experiences that can help you thrive in business. My name is Ramona Cedeno. I'm a CPA, I'm a certified financial planner, and the founder of Fabric, an accounting firm that provides services to companies in the technology and professional service sectors. And with me again is Nellie, and Nellie is a passionate entrepreneur, the CEO of CorpNet, a company that is a great resource to CPA, other accounting firms, and small business owners in the areas of state tax compliance, entity formations, and they provide a lot of resources for small businesses and for accounting firms to help us really stay in compliance with all these changing laws in the 50 states, which is, I don't know, it's so much work and so much to keep up with, but they do an amazing job. And I'm so excited to have Nellie with us today to share information on, with anyone who is struggling with understanding what's going on with all these 50 states. Where do I need to register? Where do I need to file a compliance report? So welcome, Nellie. I am so excited to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Ramona. And hello, everyone. We are so excited to bring you all the support you need to help educate, support, and inspire all of you to understand all the state and tax compliance requirements as it relates to state tax nexus and business compliance in all of the 50 states.
I am a huge fan. I use your services. I have referred several clients to CorpNet, and I'm always impressed at the processes that your team follows, how responsive and on top of everything they are. It's amazing. It's impressive, and highly recommend you every time we have an opportunity to share your services with our small business community. So I am curious. I want to learn a little more about you, your journey, how you went about, how you decided to start this company in this field that is so, it's so regulatory based and so changing constantly.
So I started back in 1997, Ramona, and I want to just thank you for having me on your show today. It's really, really nice to be on here. I love doing webinars and podcasts, so I'm really excited to be sharing my entrepreneurial journey with all of you. A little bit of background on myself. I started back in 1997. I was on the cusp of finishing law school, and my husband and I were just about to graduate law school, and we realized that the entry-level salary for what we would be paid practicing law wouldn't really support the kind of lifestyle that we were envisioning for ourselves, and also wanting to, start a family. So the internet was just coming up in 1997, and it was just, at the birthing stages of the internet, and people wanted to start businesses online. So we saw a great opportunity out there where we felt there was a need for helping and assisting small business owners, entrepreneurs, uh, CPAs, accountants, tax professionals with helping them streamline the business filings process and state tax compliance process. Even though back then I wasn't really promoting the tax stuff
Right.
per se, it was more helping them start businesses online. So we saw a huge opportunity, we saw a huge need, and we decided to come up with a solution that would help people. And we started our first company back in 1997. Same type of idea, online business filings and compliance in all 50 states. We grew that company to where it was nearly doing $1 million in gross sales revenues through that company. And in 2005, we were blessed with an acquisition from a publicly traded company. We were acquired, and we decided to step down and go under our non-compete for 3 years. And then in 2009, when our non-compete ran out, I specifically realized that I was too young, I was really bored, and I was frankly too passionate to take on an early retirement. So I decided to come up with another document filing service, hence our current company, CorpNet.com. And knock on wood, CorpNet has been in business and will be celebrating our 15 years in business this July, this upcoming July in 2023. And, with CorpNet, I always tell people I don't think I've worked harder as an entrepreneur um, ever in my life that I have spent uh, building and running CorpNet. I think my first company was kind of to get the wheels going, to kind of lube up the wheels, lube up everything, and get me ready for what was to happen next. And I think CorpNet is really where I feel I did my job and continue to do my job as an entrepreneur. And truly, I feel that was the big test for me as far as testing my entrepreneurial grit and whether I really have it in me to, deal with all the ups and downs of starting a business, running a business, and growing a business. Um, there was a lot that happened and continues to happen as my business partner and I, run CorpNet. One of the biggest ones where, well, not to mention, we started CorpNet at the height of the recession in 2009. And then after the recession subsided, we were truly in a place where we were paying to work because of the fact that I believed and was passionate about this idea that I'm not going to give up. There's plenty of business to go around. And CorpNet was started during an era where, the industry itself in the area of business filings and document filings was saturated. When we had stepped out of the market after the acquisition, we had paved way for a lot of bigger companies to come in and take a lot of market share. So when we entered back into the market, it was really, there was a huge barrier to entry. So just getting, a percent of market share was really hard for us. And then on top of that, the pandemic hit. And during the pandemic was really where we saw the silver linings of what most people thought of the worst, you know, worst situation when it came to the economic climate. And for us, it completely put our business on, a growth trajectory where we went from 15 employees to now having over 150 employees. So I would say that the huge cause of us, going from a 15-person company to now a 150-person company, and the substantial growth in the business was as a result of the pandemic, and mainly due to the fact that a lot of businesses shut down, a lot of businesses decided to go remote, and in going remote, businesses had to quickly figure out the ins and outs of state tax compliance as it related to payroll and sales and use tax in all the 50 states. So again, we saw a huge need, and we came up with a solution that not only helped everybody around us, but it also helped us pivot and enter a new market whereby now we were helping not only small business owners, entrepreneurs, business professionals with business formations and entity compliance, but also state and sales tax compliance as well.
At first, congratulations on the huge milestone. 15 years is amazing. Congratulations on that. And yes, the pandemic taught us so much. Small business owners realized that it was so important to have entities that were properly formed, to have entities that were compliant with different tax laws, and to go from 50 employees to over 100 employees shows us that the demand increased for these services. And that leads me to my next question. Why is it so critical for small businesses today to ensure that they know what the laws are in the different states, or that they have the right partner like CorpNet, and to comply with the different requirements by state where they do business?
So it's very simple. If you're not in compliance, your business is not going to be um, able to do the things that it's truly able to do, whether it's to run payroll or whether it's to make sure you're in compliance with the IRS when it comes to paying your taxes, or if you're collecting sales and use tax. Um, the IRS is going to come and audit you if you're not paying them whatever is due to the IRS. So at the end of the day, you're preventing yourself from a ton of fines and penalties, and worst case scenario, ending up in jail, because the IRS will come after you if you're not in compliance. So I would say, if we were to break it down, whether you're a tax professional or a business professional representing clients, first and foremost, you're now in an advisory position and your clients are counting on you to make sure you have all the information that they need to ensure they're running their business and have all their I's dotted and their T's crossed. And then as a small business owner who is not going to an accountant or not, or a consultant or a tax professional or a CPA, they're trying to do this stuff on their own, and they need to make sure that they can go to a service such as our company, CorpNet, a trusted professional who will be able to educate them and walk them through the steps and all the ins and outs of what is required for their business to remain in compliance. Also, as a corporation or an LLC, if a business owner is running their company as a corporation or an LLC versus a sole proprietorship or a partnership, they've taken the necessary steps to place that business into a corporation or an LLC. And in the first place, they've taken those steps so that they can protect themselves from any type of liability protection or having people come after their personal assets. And their duty is to make sure that their business remains in ongoing compliance to prevent any type of piercing of the corporate veil, because if their corporation or LLC goes out of compliance and goes into bad standing for one reason or another, then ultimately, if they ended up on the wrong end of a business lawsuit and there was a judgment that was entered against them, then whoever has that judgment against them can come and pierce the corporate veil and go after each of the shareholders of a corporation, or with respect to an LLC, the members, and go after them personally and go after their assets. So at the end of the day, when it comes to compliance, there is multiple reasons why we want to take the necessary steps to ensure that our business is in compliance when it comes to the actual business entity itself, or when it comes to, for example, making sure we have the necessary state tax registrations in place to ensure that we're not at fault or in the wrong with the IRS or the federal government.
Yes, and I know you have a partnership with, or CorpNet has a partnership with Gusto, which is another company that I am a huge fan of. And it's so nice to see that a company is setting up payroll and they get this question on whether you need to register with X state, and you get some of that kind of in one place. A lot of business owners sometimes do believe that if they register for payroll in a state, they're done, or if they register for sales taxes, they're done in that state. But it's not that simple, right? That do you help your company help business owners navigate all the different types of state registrations that they might need for their company?
Yes, we in fact have a 50 state online registration process when it comes to state payroll tax registrations and account setup. So let's say, for example, that you have a client who has a corporation or LLC, and that corporation or LLC has their home state in California, but now is hiring employees in 4 other states, such as New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Iowa. Uh, they will need to register and set up payroll tax accounts if they're going to be hiring employees in those other states. In addition, um, due to state requirements, they may also need to foreign qualify that corporation in those states as well because of state nexus issues. Nexus means basically if you have a connection with another state, a substantial amount of connection within other states. If a business has a substantial amount of connection with other states, and nexus can take various different forms. One form of nexus is, for example, when a business is, hiring employees in other states and paying them through payroll, or if they are now accepting funds, or charging a tax for one of their clients in another state. They have a business, an actual storefront in the other state. So there's multiple ways as to how a business, whether it be a sole proprietorship, partnership, or a corporation or an LLC, can form nexus in other states. And one way of establishing nexus is when a business starts hiring employees in another state. So, for example, our company, we are a 50 state document filing service whereby we offer business formation, entity formation, compliance uh, services, state tax registrations in all 50 states. And we have employees in all 50 states. So, our home state, we are a California corporation because the majority of the shareholders of our company reside in California. However, we do a substantial amount of business in the other 49 states. As such, we have to foreign qualify our California corporation in those other 49 states to be able to do business in compliance with those state laws. And in addition to that, because we have payroll and we're running payroll in those other 49 states, why? Because we have employees in those other 49 states, and those employees are receiving a paycheck from us. We have to register and set up payroll tax accounts in those 49 states. What is a payroll tax account? It's basically making sure that you're set up with your state unemployment insurance account and your state income tax withholding account in every one of those states. Now, some states will require only one registration that will give you both accounts. Other states will require you to register for the SUI or the state income tax withholding account separately, and there are two registrations. And what we do is we streamline the process, whether it be you, Ramona, as the CPA coming to us to have us set this up for one of your clients, or if it's a business owner themselves coming to us and wanting to hire us to set up these tax accounts for them because they're now running payroll in other states. So we have a service that can assist the entrepreneur, the CPA, the accountant with setting up tax accounts, albeit it be for payroll, or if the client is charging a sales and use tax in all 50 states. And we do this for a fraction of a price as to what an attorney would charge you, or a tax attorney would charge you, or or an accountant would charge you, because believe it or not, an accountant comes to us to have all of these accounts set up. And why is that? It's because the accountant doesn't have the time to go do all the research. And there is so many different nuances that are different from one state to another. So again, we saw an opportunity. There was a need for this type of a service on the, you know, uh, cusp of the, on the heels of the pandemic. And we decided to come out with this service that is really, knock on wood, you know, making a huge difference in all of our partners' lives, when they're CPAs, accountants, tax professionals, and also the business owner themselves.
Yes, I go to CorpNet because I figure you guys have the structure, you have the system, you have kind of the rhythm to do this, right? To us, it would be something that we would do every so often, whereas you do this every day. So I always say to my clients, they're experts in different areas, and they're experts because they are keeping up to date with this thing, with this the issues related to that area, but also their processes are formed around that service, right? That's being provided. So definitely think it's great to have um, you as a resource, CorpNet as a resource for this, for our CPAs and accountants. And I know business owners can go directly to you. So you talked about payroll tax accounts, and if you are required to collect sales taxes in the states, you might also need to register for sales tax compliance. You might also need to. I view the registration for the payroll tax accounts separate from registering to do business in the state.
Mhm.
So correct me if that's not right, but I view payroll, doing business in the state, sales taxes, and then there is the income tax portion, which is where I come in. And sometimes there is income tax nexus if there is revenue, income in the state. So we deal with that.
Correct.
But then the first three areas, I believe you might be able to cover. Is that correct?
Correct. So let's say, for example, a business is now doing, they're a California corporation, and they're planning on expanding their business into several different states other than California. Most, although specifically having that corporation foreign qualified in those other states is not a prerequisite. It's definitely not a prerequisite to registering for payroll tax account or sales tax account. It's often encouraged and recommended, especially if there's going to be any sort of nexus within those other states, whether it be income tax nexus, if they're going to be doing a substantial amount of business in those states, if they're going to be having, if they're going to be earning a substantial amount of revenues, if there's going to be, employees within that state. So state nexus in itself can again take on a variety of different forms, but for purposes of simplicity and the steps required is, generally speaking, if a business was to really want to follow all of the compliance requirements to make sure all of their i's are dotted and their t's are crossed, they would want to make sure that their home state corporation is in compliance with all of the requirements within their home state, making sure the corporation is in good standing, making sure that they filed all their compliance requirements with the state on time. And as long as the corporation is in good standing, then they would get a certificate of good standing from that state stating that that corporation is in good standing, and then they would foreign qualify by filing what is called a certificate of authority of doing business within those other states that they're planning to do business in. So the foreign qualification is the first step. Then once the business is foreign qualified in those other states that they're going to be, running payroll, charging a sales and use tax, they would set up the payroll accounts within those states. And then once those payroll accounts are set up, simultaneously, if they're also going to be collecting some sort of a tax, whether it's a sales tax or a use tax, they would also be setting up and applying and registering for those sales and use tax um, accounts as well. And we can help in all of those steps in all 50 states. For those of you who has a question or who has a need for any of these types of services, you can simply visit us on www.corpnet.com. You can pick up the phone and dial 1-888-449-2638, or you can send us an email to info@corpnet.com. I know that Ramona specifically deals with Jose Paredes at CorpNet. He's one of our senior account managers at CorpNet. He's also Ramona's dedicated account manager, and he also speaks Spanish. So, for those of you who prefer a Spanish speaking dedicated account manager, again, Jose is a great resource. And not only we can assist you with all these services, but we can take on more of an advisor for you in advising you and guide you through the steps that are required and provide you with the educational and support material that you need to educate yourself as to what the requirements are. We can't provide you with legal, tax, or financial advice, but we can provide you with guidance.
Yes, and Jose is great, and the whole team. And I love the reminders. If we are not providing something, we get that soft nudge. Where are you with this? And those are always welcome, as busy as we are, right? And I'm sure there is a system in the background that's making this happen. And I really like when companies have good processes. I don't get tired of saying that. So I'm very impressed with the way you run the company. Um, the timing of setting up these accounts, payroll tax accounts, sales tax accounts, I think is critical. I have seen so many business owners that start payroll but haven't registered with the state to set up the payroll tax accounts, and then payroll cannot run.
That is
Do
correct. That is
you?
correct. We see that a lot of times. And I would tell you that's the worst thing you can do. But again, life is messy, and we're not perfect humans, and we make mistakes. Oftentimes, it's if it's a matter of maybe one payroll, they'll you can go back and update your information, with this government. However, you know as a general encouragement, as a general form of guidance, it's always best to set up all your necessary required tax accounts, whether it be a payroll account or a sales or use tax account prior to running payroll. And because what will happen and what can happen is that you can be fined, and you may have to pay hefty fines and penalties if you run payroll, or if you start charging or collecting any sort of tax without those accounts being properly set up and in place prior to you know, doing the act of running payroll and paying people on payroll.
Yes, that's good advice and good reminder for everyone. Let's talk a little bit. I know we are close to time here, but let's talk a little bit about deactivating an entity. I have business owners that come to me for income tax services, and they say, I haven't used my company for 5 years, but now all of a sudden I am going to start using it and file taxes, but I haven't filed for the last 5 years. Um, And it's very challenging, right, to deal with situations like that. Do you recommend that business owners deactivate their businesses when they know that they might not use the business for a few years, or if there are any other process they can follow to temporarily inactivate the company?
So this is a great question, Ramona, and it's such a timely question because we're at the end of the year. And one of the things that we are educating our clients with right now, I mean, as we speak, is if you are running an inactive company, if you have a company that's gone inactive, or if you're planning on shutting down and no longer planning on, operating that company, specifically if it's a corporation or LLC, you must take the necessary steps to formally dissolve that business. And the reason why, it's because as a corporation or an LLC, it's a separate legal entity from the business owners of that corporation or LLC. And the business owners of that corporation or LLC are called shareholders in the form of a corporation, and in the case of an LLC, they're called members. And in either case, if that corporation or LLC is no longer active, the business owners must take the steps formally to wind down and dissolve that corporation or LLC. Otherwise, that corporation or LLC will continue to remain active, and it will tack on fees. It will tack on requirements by the state that you as the business owner have to comply with, and you failing to comply with will have to, will be fined with back taxes, with penalties and fines and late fees. So at the end of the day, if you have a company that's no longer active and you're no longer wishing to continue on with that corporation or LLC, you definitely want to take the necessary steps to file a formal articles of dissolution and formally dissolve that corporation or LLC with the state. And you want to definitely do it before the year end so that that corporation or LLC does not continue on for another year. Because remember, you also have to file the income tax filings for each year that that corporation or LLC is in existence. So right now is a perfect time for those of you who are no longer running your corporation or LLC and it's gone inactive to consider formally dissolving that corporation or LLC before year end. And typically we recommend the dissolution filing to be submitted to the state prior to the 15th of December to ensure that the state gives you a year-end filing date and it doesn't go into the following year. Now, you also brought up another question that I definitely want to address here is for those business owners who actually allowed that corporation or LLC to go inactive, but now they've decided they want to reactivate that corporation or LLC. That's a different process than closing the business. Basically, what we're talking about here is reinstating that corporation or LLC. And the process is called a reinstatement. So let's say you're a business owner who has a corporation or LLC. The corporation or LLC has gone into bad standing with the state office, albeit it be you not paying, you filing your annual report online on time and paying those annual report fees or compliance fees, or you haven't paid your franchise taxes online. It could be a number of reasons, okay? But now you as a business owner want to reactivate that corporation or LLC. That process is called a reinstatement. And generally speaking, most states will offer a reinstatement as an option. Some states may not. For those states that do not offer a reinstatement, they will give you the option of dissolving that corporation or LLC and then forming a new corporation or LLC. But again, reinstatement is the process of when a corporation or LLC goes into bad standing for one reason or another, and now the business owner wants to reactivate and reinstate that corporation or LLC. And again, our company can also assist with those types of services in all 50 states. depending on whether the state offers that service as an option.
Well, that's very good to know. So if a situation arises like that where the client has not used the company for a few years and they want to use it, would you advise that they check with the state to make sure the entity is in good standing before they start using it again?
Absolutely. In fact, that would be the first thing that I would encourage the business owner to do is before they start operating that corporation or LLC or operating their business under that corporation or LLC, you definitely want to make sure you do your due diligence to ensure that that corporation or LLC is in good standing, is in compliance with all the state and the formal requirements that are required for that LLC or corporation to be in compliance. Have they filed their annual report on time on a yearly basis? Do they owe any back taxes? Have they filed their income taxes and all their necessary tax filings for each year? In the case of a corporation, have they drafted and submitted, have they drafted and had their annual meeting minutes for the shareholders and the board of directors? And have they drafted those meeting minutes? And are they keeping those at the principal place of business? Do they have an active registered agent that can, represent that corporation or LLC within that state? Have they designated one? Is that registered agent service still active for them to accept service of process for the corporation or LLC within that state? Are they doing different are they doing business under different business names under the corporation or LLC? So a variety of different annual compliance tasks that they should mark off on a checklist. And we actually have an annual compliance checklist that you can download from our website. If you go to the running a business tab, you'll see that there's a free download that you can download our checklist to, make sure again you have checked off all the boxes to ensure your corporation or LLC is in compliance.
Thank you, Nelly. That's a lot. It sounds complex. It sounds overwhelming. But if you have partners like CorpNet, a good accountant, they can help you navigate through all those complexities and really put your life at ease and allow you to, as a business owner, focus on the things that you love doing. Nelly, thank you very much for being with us today. We have to stop for now, but this conversation can take on hours and hours. We hope to have you back in the near future to talk about different topics around the same complexities of tax compliance. Thank you for having us. You shared your contact information before, but let's remind the audience where they can get in touch with you and CorpNet or with CorpNet if should they need your services.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Again, for those of you interested in working with CorpNet, you can visit us at www.corpnet.com. We're all over social media as well, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter. You can send us an email to info@corpnet.com. You can also visit us online and do a live chat with us. We are open Monday through Fridays from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we have live chat business experts standing by to answer any and all of your questions. You can also pick up the phone and dial 1-888-449-2638 if you specifically like to work with Jose Paredes, who is Ramona's dedicated account manager. You can contact Jose directly at, again, 1-888-449-2638, extension 117. Also, for those of you listening in who are also an accountant, tax professional, or any type of a business consultant or professional representing other clients and would like to work with CorpNet and partner with CorpNet, we have a free partner program where you can partner with CorpNet and resell our services to your clients, or you can use CorpNet as your trusted partner and refer your clients to CorpNet as a referral partner and get a commission on each sale. For more information on our partner program, again, visit us online at www.corpnet.com/partner. partners, or simply go on our website and you'll see on the top nav, partner with us, and you can get all the information about our partner program. Again, it's free to join, no setup fees, no annual fees. It's a pay as you go service, and it's very flexible, and we'll create a program that's designed to meet your needs. Thank you again, Ramona. It's been a pleasure presenting to your audience today.
Thank you, Nellie. And I love the partner program, so I highly recommend it. And again, I appreciate all your input, Nellie. Your information was very valuable. I hope the audience benefits from it. To those that are with us live, thank you for joining us live. If you're listening to this recording after, thank you also for watching, and connect with Nellie, CorpNet, and myself on different social media platforms. And we'll see you in a few weeks. Thank you again, and have a great